In 1986, I came to Canada, and then the first fall, you know, the Canadian autumn, it's beautiful. And then I just ran into a group of deserted graves. You know, it was grass was growing really, really tall, and I knew that people hadn't visited this place for years and years. So I had to go in. I sort of push aside the grass to see the tombstones. Then I saw the inscriptions on them, and it was all Chinese names. And these people died very young, like almost a century ago, sort of their ages, I would say, they lived probably late teens, early 20s. They died so young. Then all of a sudden I realized those were the graveyards of the early Chinese settlers in Canada. Then I felt like, you know what, I want to write a story about these people. Okay, I want to know what happened to them. Then I was invited to tour Kaiping, which later became the setting of my novel, you know. Then when I went to visit Kaiping, then I realized this little town is very famous for its residential building called the Diaolou Fortress Homes, you know. Those homes were built with the money that the Chinese coolies sent from Canada, from USA, from Europe, back home to build those homes so that their women and children will be safe inside, you know. So when I toured one of the Diaolous, and it was not yet remodeled for public display, so I went in, then I found a pink dress, really, really old pink dress. And then one of the sleeves was tucked into the pocket, you know. So I tried to take this sleeve out, then I drag out a pair of nylons, pantyhose, you know. This must be one of the very first pair in China, you know. So when I touched this pair of nylons, and all of a sudden I felt the shock, the electrical sort of current going through my fingertip all the way up to my hair, like my hair was standing like this, you know. Then I felt like, you know what, this is the soul of this dress, this is the soul of this pair of nylon calling out to me, hey, I've been here waiting for you for so long, now finally you came, so set me free, write about me, set me free. Then I realized, you know, this is the women's story in China. Their men left them in Canada fighting for a better future for their children, and then those women were left behind in China waiting for their men to come back home. You know, if they did not come back home, they were waiting for the letter containing money, you know. So for their entire life they were waiting for their man to come home. Some of them never did come home, you know. So I thought, okay, you know what, this graveyard, it was a man's story about fighting for a better future. And this dress and nylon in the fortress home, Diaolou, is a story of the women waiting for their men to return. So if I put the two together, then it just formed the whole picture. It was the foundation of this book.